Welcome to the Perfect Pitch Auto Repair Sports Spotlight. They do it all at 108th and Kedzie. Flowers for every imaginable occasion at Lansing Floral Shop. Call them at 708-474-1212. They deliver.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. We're going to do a recrap after the exciting opening day loss to the Washington Nationals super good this year from everything I've heard.
Juggernaut practically.
Yeah. Joining me on the recap is Sam Fels, making his triumphant return to the podcast.
Happy to be back here. You guys watch this Ian Happ bat third the whole time I've been gone? Has that been going on while I haven't been around?
They have to try it every year.
Do this every season, huh?
Every year.
Okay.
It's, it'll work. It'll work this time.
All right. I'm on board. Let's go.
I honestly think Craig got every spot in the order wrong.
He might have.
It's hard to do. Like, why is Michael Busch still leading off? I mean, wasn't it supposed to jolt the offense? Like, could we maybe get somebody on base for the guy?
Who's the other OBP guy in the lineup? Is there one?
No.
Yeah. So
just put Nico there and let him hit 290 with a 301 on base.
310, yeah, on base percentage. I don't know. I hadn't watched. I don't like to watch spring training that much because there's so much baseball in the regular season. You don't need it. And you were pointing out, but I'm going to let people in behind the curtain here. Before we start recording, there's a little countdown on our screen, as you were pointing out. I didn't know the ABS system had a little countdown to it when you challenge.
Yeah, I've been watching.
It's a little theatrical, don't you think?
They seem to be a little different. Like park to park. Like main, maybe I'm wrong, but the main thing all looks the same, but it's almost like there's a little, I don't know, maybe they really are going to do the 3-2-1. When they first happened, I thought, oh no, it's broken.
Right.
Like you're not supposed to
that's
see
like the spinning rainbow wheel, right?
We're going to stand here for 10 minutes while we wait.
I was like, oh, first challenge, okay. Then I'm like, oh my God, they're counting it. Hey, ABS,
I'd just like to think that Ian he's like an 0 for 12 away from giving third over to Moises Ballesteros for ever.
Well, we know that's not true.
No, we know it's not.
Because he's an 0 for 12 away from giving it back to Saya when he gets healthy, I'm assuming.
My worry is that they're hung up on the stupid left, right crap.
Yeah.
Which I just think is so overrated. Like, I get not batting like 3 lefties in a row so that one lefty reliever can't come in and go through that.
It's a great thing to do when all your hitters are good. When they're not, then you don't really need to worry about it. And especially when it's a couple righties, because it's not like your right-handed hitters see right-handed pitchers all the time. You line up 3 lefties, now you might see a lefty out of the pen that none of them can deal with.
Yeah.
So, just don't get cute.
That, but I feel like Ross was like obsessed with it.
Yes. But he was obsessed with a lot of things.
Yeah. Podcaster now.
Look at him. He's also bitching about getting a job, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought I saw some cantankerous thing when he re-signed for whatever television deal he's doing about how
he's back at ESPN now.
He's ready to be back in the dugout. Everyone's like, okay, buddy, we'll get right on that. He
was on the World Baseball Classic staff. He was the only Team USA. He was the only guy with managerial experience, and they put him in the bullpen.
You know what it was? I think he was mad that Walt Weiss got the Atlanta job.
I don't think Ross got interviewed. I think that's what he was pissed off about.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought he was a front runner, and they were like, "Oh, it's David Ross." We're not fucking talking to him.
Right? He's a former everything, but he played in Atlanta, yes. Right?
Yeah.
So he just assumed they would talk to him, and they didn't.
I always thought the one redeeming. Well, he had a home run in Game 7 of the World Series, although he completely tried to ruin it. He tried to sabotage that entire game. But one redeeming quality Ross had was that Dusty Baker and him hate each other. So I was kind of like that. I thought that was okay.
But
otherwise, I
never got a big U.S. Nicaragua tilt to.
No,
really.
that would have been great.
Yeah,
Dusty couldn't even see. He couldn't even see Ross from the dugout. It wouldn't matter. Who's over there?
Yeah, right.
That ain't David Ross. David Ross is bald. This guy's not bald.
Oh, has he got his hair back now?
Oh, it's the crazy thing about it, this is how dumb he is. This should have been should be disqualifying. So he finally grew his hair back, And he's not that bald.
No.
And it's not hair plugs. It's just he's got a big forehead is what he's got. He started shaving his head when his forehead started to grow. But when he grows out his hair like a normal person, it actually looks like fine. And it's like, why were you bald for 20 years? Oh, well.
What can you do?
What can you do? I don't know. I'm glad Michael Conforto's on the team too.
Yeah, I guess I will have to become comfortable with Jed Hoyer's inability or unwillingness to build a bench.
Yep.
When you have the chance to sign the literal worst player in baseball, you have to do it.
And when they signed him, both Sahadev and Mooney were like, well, he's on the team because of his track record. Like, his track record is that ever since he fucked up his shoulder, he's terrible. That's what his track record is. He's never going to be good again, ever.
No.
His arm is screwed up, and he's never going to be good.
He's not serviceable. And what did Harrison Bader end up signing for? Not much.
Yeah, he got. It was more than you think. $12 million, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
it's a 1 year deal, and he's going to start in center. That's why. But I'm sure you could have signed him earlier before Buster Posey ran out of every other option.
Right.
You probably could have signed Bader like for a third of that at some point and give him the wonderful Jed's 1 year with an option to make it look like a 2-year deal.
Right. You could have signed him for $8 million and you get enough starts for lefties in center and starts on the other spots.
I mean, I know Bader's got some, like, he had a good year last year, but he's just too cardinally.
He's very cardinally. I have a rule about any baseball player who wears a mouth guard. I'm like, just no. Yeah, no. But, like, he's the kind of thing they needed to do, right? To really be sure. And it's still the kind of guy they can go get.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be make or break, but they need someone to spell PCA against lefties, and they need someone who can play all three spots who's not,
Isn't that what the great Dylan Carlson is for?
Right. I don't know if you saw, I can't remember who hit the big homer for the Nats today.
In
the beginning, there was a 3-run shot, right?
It's whichever young this is.
Whatever.
Jacob.
Right.
He had 2 homers last year.
He had 2 homers. Well, the first one, perhaps you noticed this because you would notice it, and I noticed it. The ball going out of the park saved everyone from noticing the horrible jump Matt Shaw got on it. Because if you go back and watch the replay, he's going in when the camera, flips. So you already know he reacted late, because when the camera flips, you should already be in motion. I should already see you, heading to where you're heading. So you see him like paused and then take 2 steps in and then go back, but then it went out of the park, so it didn't matter. So this isn't a solution to anything.
Well, you build a quality bench when you keep 2 outfielders, 2 veteran outfielders, and you start the utility guy who's never played an inning.
Who's never played out there. Yeah, that's good.
But it's
good rostering.
It was just a few years ago. The last time there was a World Baseball Classic, and Seiya got hurt. He got hurt before the Classic. Miles Mastroboni played right field on opening day. Yeah.
So maybe this is just tradition. Every 3 years when there's a WBC, this is what they're going to do.
Somewhere Vidal Brujan is like, motherfucker, how come I didn't get to play right last year?
Right.
I could have played opening day. Look, fuck Kyle Tucker. I could have done it. The first homer was hit by the great Joey Wiemer.
Joey Wiemer, that's what I'm thinking of. That's the one.
I honestly think has the worst swing I've ever seen. I literally don't know how he ever hits the ball, ever. And of course, he had a home run in his first game against Cubs.
Now, you're going to have to help me here. What are the expectations for Matthew Boyd this season? No one's expecting last season again.
I mean, are you asking what my expectations are? That he'll be
let's go with yours and then the general populace.
A May trip to the injured list that probably doesn't have a return. I mean, that was the thing last year, was the fact that they got, like, he hadn't pitched a full season in like 6 years.
Right.
And not only did he make it, he was good. I mean, he had one rough spot late in the year, and then he was, other than that ridiculous, ill-fated, let's start him on short rest to start the playoffs. He was really good. But yeah, I mean, 2 things. He stayed healthier than he ever has, and he overperformed. Like, he should be. This, I guess, was the reward for last year that he got to start opening day?
Right. Well, they don't. I guess they figure Horton will get his chances.
Yeah, I mean, why would you start your best pitcher on opening day?
On opening day or anything?
Because theoretically, the guy who goes first will get the most starts. So no, let's make sure it's not Cade.
Why? I mean, I don't think that much like the bench. I don't think the team's hopes hinge on Matthew Boyd with Cabrera and Horton, and eventually Steele returning. If he's your fourth or fifth guy, then you're fine. That's you'll make it work. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, they don't really think this is gonna work, is it? But, all right.
I don't know. He struck five. He struck 5 in a row out before he the wheels fell off in the fourth.
Well, it was cold. I think my highlight of the game was Boog trying to come up with this thing like, well, he hasn't been in the stretch, for 3 innings, and it's cold. Is that a thing? And JD like, no.
Well, first JD goes, he's like, well, not necessarily. And Boog goes, you could just say no. He goes,
you can just say no. Yeah.
No.
No, it's not a thing.
There are straws all over the booth that you're grasping at.
You don't have to be an apologist on opening day. It could just be a bad day. We don't have to sell this.
I thought Alex Bregman looked really good at third. I liked when he charged in for the ball and tried to barehand it and didn't get it at all. And then he had the error later. And Shaw's probably out and right going, I can play over there. I'm comfortable over there. Maybe this little guy can play right. Let's try that.
Right, let's try that. We signed him for $40 million, and we're going to play him in right field.
It wouldn't be the first time.
It would not.
This is a team that once signed Alfonso Soriano to play center.
After, he never played there.
Yeah, yanked his hamstring off the bone and then was immediately a left fielder for the rest of his career. And then couldn't steal a base anymore. The 40-40 guy could never steal a base.
40-40 guy, and he comes to the Cubs, and he's just a 40 guy. Just 40. No, 40 and 2.
I don't know. Did you? You probably did. Did you catch any of opening night last night?
I did not.
So what I missed in this game, the Cubs pregame was just there's not enough screaming. I mean, in Netflix, everybody was screaming.
Everybody's screaming. That's what I hear. That's what I read. Everybody's screaming. They didn't bother to actually cover the game. It was like the blown out version of what Sunday Night Baseball has become. It's just interviews and human interest stories while the game's going on.
The most excited anybody got was Matt Vasgersian was very excited. The Giants kept hitting Yankees base runners with the ball. And when it happened the third time, he lost his mind. It was the most exciting thing he'd ever seen. Wow, it happened again.
Then Vasgersian hops a red eye to be on NBC today.
So he called the first 2 games of the season.
Is he that much in demand? Can we not find anyone else?
He was apparently Netflix wanted bigger fish and couldn't get him. He'd already signed up to be the second NBC guy because Benetti has the game.
Benetti is the first one, yeah.
And so I think it was just a coincidence that it's he'll do the Netflix game, which means he ends up getting to do the first 2 games. I don't mind him, and on the podcast the other day I mentioned the reason I don't is he once when he's with the Padres was forced to apologize for making fun of how the Cardinal fans all drove Camaros. It's they all drive the same Camaro to the park, and then he had to apologize. So I like.
I mean, when he was just a play-by-play guy in San Diego, I thought he was fine, and then he became national. He was Sunday night for a while. He was MLB Network, and it's a little too broadcasty now.
Yeah. How did you like his XFL work?
Sorry to say, I missed it. Was he hate me still in the league? How's that work?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I missed everyone hated the Netflix debut from what I could tell. We have Netflix, I think. We haven't used it in a very long time. Although the Rachel Weisz's Horny show is on Netflix, so I might have to get it back to see that.
Rizzo was on the pregame, and then he made it in time to throw out the first pitch today. So
good for him.
Apparently Vasgersian's plane dropped him off. Or they just had him parachute on.
Right.
All right, Anthony, you're out here. We're not going to land. What?
Well, good for him. So Anthony's officially retired now, right? He's going to be loafing around Wrigley most days.
He's going to be in the Sunday night studio crew on NBC.
Okay.
Is him, Clayton Kershaw. Because who doesn't want to hear? How can he work on a Sunday? I don't get that. And who's the other guy? Is it Hunter? It might be Hunter Pence.
Underpants? So how long will it take them to reference Rizzo's homer of Kershaw in Game 6? I say 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, if I'm Anthony, I would bring it up immediately.
Yeah, I would have a picture of it,
yeah,
like right there.
Remember that time your knees literally buckled when you watched the pennant fly over the fence? That was fun.
The Sunday Night Baseball thing's a little weird to me because until June, it's on Peacock, right? Because NBC's doing NBA playoffs.
Yep.
And then in September, it'll be back on Peacock because they'll be doing football. So they get 2 months of this? 3 months?
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay.
That's all. This is MLB's slot in the sports pecking order. Below the NFL, below the NBA, but still above hockey.
Well, I was actually seeing today their ratings are pretty comparable to the NBA's. At least playoff time.
I mean, I don't want to say anything nice about Rob Manfred, but
no one does.
The pitch clock is like one of the greatest things. I mean, it made the games like you didn't have to worry about investing 4 hours to watch a baseball game anymore.
The playoff baseball still takes a little.
Yeah. But they're all regular season games are like 2.5 hours now. It's like, oh, this is so, and you don't miss any of the shit you miss because it was just guys scratching themselves or Nomar having an OCD attack with the Velcro on his batting gloves
or his red crotch dots.
Nomar there's no way he literally would have retired during a game.
He would have been the first person to strike out on pitch clock violations.
Right. Yep. He'd get one good pitch, and then it would be strike while he was jacking around.
And you're out. Go home.
Yeah. But the other unique thing about the NBC coverage is that there is no regular game analyst.
Okay.
So Benetti will work with somebody from both teams for
like they
every
did for the Sunday
game.
morning stuff.
Yeah, and he did that for a year, and he's really good at it because he's Benetti. Like he creates chemistry with pretty much anybody. And
you know what? That works for me because I'd rather have that than parachuting in whatever moron has Sunday Night Baseball who doesn't watch during the week.
Yep.
Doesn't know, they just hand him sheets and he reads it.
Well, and what it ended up doing on those games, first on Peacock, and then I guess they did them on Roku and Peacock. It's funny, NBC bailed out of that deal.
Right. Couldn't wait.
And then threw a big chunk of money at him 2 years later. But it kind of forces the conversation to be about the two teams that are actually playing because you have an analyst from both teams, and then he starts asking them just about their team. And so it actually focuses it on the game you're watching. It's crazy. And he did confirm NBC and Peacock have the wild card round. And so all 4 wild card series will have an announcer, will have a color analyst from each team.
Okay.
So the whole thing about you don't get like if the Cubs, they shouldn't be in that round. They should be, hopefully they have a bye.
But there's always a chance.
But if they did, then if you could end up with Jim Deshaies calling your playoff games.
Well, it won't be Ron Coomer, will it?
Well, no, because he'd have to do the radio.
Right, so.
And you're right, and they wouldn't pick him anyway.
No, they'll actually get Dempster to do it. They find him.
And that's why I worry that it'll be. And there's no guarantee. I mean, that could very well be the Rizzo spot.
It could be, but we don't. Maybe he's good at it. We don't know.
He was on. I did watch some of the Netflix pregame. He was very good.
Yeah,
like super comfortable. Just he'd done it his whole life.
Well, he was always pretty good with the press, so I guess that's not that surprising. But the desk is one thing, and then the booth is another.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like and poor Chris Bryant is going to have to retire one of these days. And then they can have him.
$20 million on the table, he won't.
Well, the Rockies have to come up with it. Well, and Boris will keep an eye on that injury settlement and make sure it's large.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's going to be.
Then you could get him smiling and staring blankly at the camera on some network.
And they will. Don't worry.
Look how handsome he is. Yeah. Has he spoken? No.
So as I return to your glorious podcast after my 4-year absence, some of my followers will know that part of my bile and anger was the way they treated Chris Bryant. And it proved to be the absolute right thing to do. Now, they didn't get anything for him. Everyone they got for him has now moved along, correct?
The great, what is Alexander Canario? Why does that sound?
Yeah, right? Alex Canario.
And Cole Killian? That sounds right. Who is now Cade, who is now back with the Giants, and apparently throwing 100 miles an hour. No, they moved into the bullpen.
Good for him. So I'm my return is me partially, obviously admitting I was wrong. Although,
well, but were we? Because I was the same. I wasn't.
I mean,
if it was because if they were like, well, his body's breaking down and we should just move on from him, then why didn't they trade him earlier and gotten something for him?
Well,
if they were
I think
so
they might
wise,
have wanted to. Well, the pandemic season probably threw a wrench into that.
Yeah, that very well could have been the let's clean house. Then everybody's got a year and a half on their deals, and we'll get more for them.
But if it had been like, you know what, if it had been his body's breaking down, we need to move on, that's a baseball trade. They traded him for children, which was our big complaint. Him and you, Darvish. It's like, here's some 8th graders we have. It's like, okay, then you don't care about this. So,
well, anyway, so far the trade for the Javi for PCA trade was the best trade they made.
Yep,
because we got a legitimately very good player.
PCA does a really good Javi impression.
Yeah, he's basically. If he was right-handed, he would be the Cubs shortstop, but he's not. Right. So he's the Cubs center fielder.
Right.
And then it turns out that the next best trade they made was the Andrew Chafin trade, where they got Daniel Palencia.
Yep. It's pretty good.
Because we can wait. I have a feeling shouldn't Kevin Alcantara be playing right field right now for the next 10 days? I would think
so. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Now, let me take your temperature on this, because I see a lot of Cubs fans and others gnashing their teeth. I mean, I know what your temperature is. I read your newsletter, but gnashing their teeth about the bullpen. Now, the one policy of Jed Hoyer's I agree with is to never invest all that heavily in a bullpen, because no one knows how these things work. You have one guy, who's Palencia, and like, okay, we can trust him. Great stuff, young. We'll leave him alone. Every other team makes a bullpen out of 3 guys who are like 32 and just started throwing 98 out of nowhere, or develop some slider they're doing out of motor oil on the mound, and all of a sudden they get like 2 more feet of break, and it's out of nowhere, and they do that for a season or 2, and then they get hurt and they suck, and then it's over. So the idea of we gotta spend big on the bullpen, you shake the Yahtzee thing, you roll the dice, and then if it doesn't work, you remake it at the trade deadline for nothing.
I don't mind. To me, it was pretty informative that, Brad Keller probably had the best second half of any reliever in baseball. It's like a .33 ERA. It was dominant.
Yeah.
And the Cubs were not super interested in being the team who pays him for that performance.
Right. And they shouldn't be.
Yeah. And part of me was like, well, if you're going to take credit for fixing him, is he not really fixed? Maybe we ought to keep him around. But otherwise, I agree with, Jed is pretty good at this, except 1 year, 2024, he got it disastrously wrong, and it killed their entire season.
I mean, that's going to happen some seasons with this
where the pieces just don't fit.
He's hardly they're not the only team that has seen that happen, where it's just like they can't get a bullpen together. But, the thing about a bullpen is okay, you're dealing with guys who have already declared themselves some of the worst players on your team. They can't start, so they're in the bullpen. So trying to project out what they're going to do over multiple seasons is stupid, because they've already failed at the one thing they were supposed to do. So I think Hoyer's a dweeb, but I mean, I agree with him that it's there's no point in really getting lost in this, because if it doesn't work for May and June, we'll just go out and we'll get 3 relievers off teams going nowhere.
And that's even what he did. He even did in 24 was he eventually fixed it. The problem was they blew a bunch of games early that it put them behind. They never caught up.
And the offense wasn't very good.
And the thing you can't hang your hat on is a guy has a great year is him actually repeating it. It's my greatest example of that is Brian Dunsing. His first year with the Cubs, he was the best left-handed reliever in baseball. His next year, he was the worst. He was terrible. They had to cut him.
Right.
And it's it's the same dude. And it's it just doesn't that shit doesn't necessarily, the winter shows up and all the magic is gone and he sucks now.
Yeah, it's not worth investing in.
But, they have the great Hobie Milner.
Well, then it's all fixed.
Yeah, they're fine.
I mean, it doesn't matter today when you're giving up 10 runs, but
And Craig knows him. He's an old Brewer. Craig vouched for him.
Right. I mean, it's annoying.
They got Brian Harvey's kid.
I know people get annoyed by this because they're always trying to contend with the Brewers, who fashion a good bullpen every year. And I'm like, well, okay, they obviously, but it's never the same guys. or it's rarely the same guys. Like if Trevor McGill, so many McGills. Like if he ends up blowing up this year, would you be surprised? No, he's a big oaf, and like all of a sudden he might not be able to find the strike zone. Like what, that's just what could happen.
I mean, I think the Brewers have the idea. I think the Cubs would like to do is you get a decent bullpen and you just ride the shit out of them, and then you let somebody else pay them next year when their arms hanging off there, and we go get a new group of guys that we can just wear out.
We'll trade this Abner Uribe for 3 guys who will then be good for us because that's how it works. And then he'll sign a big deal somewhere else. And then, he'll be hurt all the time.
And like Ross's biggest failing in 23 was that he, from the whole second half, would only use 3 relievers.
Mm-hmm.
He used Fulmer and Leiter and Adbert, and he blew them all out. And then they were done by the end of then they didn't have any relievers. It didn't matter what the situation was. They could be up 7 and he's going to one of those guys. It's like, Dave, you've got to stop this shit.
They're all done for their career, basically. Like I haven't heard from any of them.
It's funny, Fulmer just showed up out of nowhere, kind of Drew Pomerantz style in Giants camp. Like he's back, but he's in AAA. He's not. He didn't make the roster.
That's
the other thing. No, it's the Sacramento. They share the stadium with the A's.
Oh, they share the stadium with the A's. That's right. Yeah. Good stuff.
That's great. Yikes. So I just feel bad. The Cubs will not be allowed to serve beer at Wrigley now because they lost the opener. They can't open the. Isn't that funny? No, you don't like that?
How long have you been sitting on that one?
It's the oldest baseball joke ever. You can use it for half the teams in baseball every year.
I've never heard it, and I could have gone on without hearing it. But I guess I have to thank you for providing me with that.
I'm not, it's fine. They lost the Nats. I mean, at the Nats, I think this is a spunky team with all these household names like Chaparro, and House, and Lyle, Weimer.
The Nats are going to embark on another rebuild without ever finishing the first one.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they're like, oh, this James Wood and C.J. Abrams and these guys can't hit, so we have to move on. And they've already traded Mackenzie Gore, and they're starting over without even finishing.
I mean, the crazy thing is that the Juan Soto trade, they did about as well as you can do trading a star. They got Wood, Abrams, and McGore all made an All-Star team.
Yeah,
Robert Hassel is he's like he's Pete Crow light. He's got a weird little blonde haircut and he's fast, but he can't actually play, unlike Pete. And that just shows you that if you have a guy like Juan Soto, you just don't trade him because even if you win the trade, you don't win the trade.
I wrote about this when I was working at Deadspin. Having Juan Soto is not supposed to be a burden. It's like it's supposed to be a good thing.
And I get it. They freaked out because he turned down like a $340 million contract offer from them.
Right.
And they're like, well, we'll never be able to re-sign him. And so, well, he ended up, you wouldn't have had to give him $700 million. You would have had to give him $450, and you should have, because you would have Juan Soto. He was 26 years old when they traded him.
Right. Wasn't even that old when they traded him. He was 26 when the Padres traded him, I think.
Yeah, so 25.
Yeah.
24. 25. 24. Yeah, it was terrible.
Well, keep this in mind when PCA doesn't hit for a season or two, and they start thinking about trading him.
He gets the one thing in his trade he gets a raise if he gets traded.
Does he?
Yep, he's got an assignment. He's got an assignment bonus.
Oh, that's good work right there. Now you were a little angry about the PCA extension.
I'm glad they signed him. I love him irrationally, but it's just typical Cubs. Everybody else who signs a player, one of those gets at the end, they tack on a team option for one more year.
Right.
And
it's
the Cubs
usually way below market.
Well, but the Corbin Carroll and Jackson Merrill ones aren't.
Okay. What are they at?
But
do you know offhand?
Corbin's is like 28 and Merrill's is they're both in the 20s. They're consistent with they're basically the same as the year before.
Okay.
You can keep them for one more year at that now, but we know the way you get that then is when you're negotiating, you end up bumping up each year and to make it worthwhile for the player. So he's going to get an extra $3 or $4 million a year, but then you have one more year at the end where if he's still really good, you just get to say you're staying. And the Cubs didn't do that. And it's like, well, so they literally signed him to one fewer year, the one no-risk year at the end, where if he's bad, you just say, I'm sorry, we're not picking that up.
Right.
They didn't negotiate for themselves. And I think his agent did they're talking about how, well, he settled for less money than the other guys, but, I mean, I'm sure the ideal time for his agent to negotiate this contract was at the All-Star break last year. Yeah. And then Pete was, not so good in the second half. So that brought the money down. But I think from what we've seen, I think it's a really good deal for Pete. I think he did.
I think
his agent did fine.
I
think it's fine for the Cubs.
You tell me if I'm wrong here. I look at Pete and I see, left-handed, pasty Julio Rodriguez. And the Mariners weren't good again until Julio Rodriguez was the second best player on the team. And even when Julio had a couple years where he didn't really hit all that well, but if you're a prime defensive center fielder, you're a 3 or 4 win player by like that alone. So I feel like PCA will be that for the next, little while. When he gets into his 30s, we'll see. Center fielders don't tend to age into their 30s very well, but he might. I don't know.
Well, and then, I mean, if that's the case, if he doesn't, then Jed's fine because he leaves when he's 30.
Right. Well, Jed won't be here when, let's be honest, when.
I don't know. I think Jed, well, yeah, if he's not here, it's because he quit.
Right. But if that's true, and I think it's pretty solid. They both strike out a ton. They both have a lot of power. Both very exciting. The Cubs are going to figure out long term, okay, well, then who's going to be our best player? I mean, right now it's supposed to be Bregman. I don't know how long he can do that, but he's only signed he's not signed that long. So
5 years.
Yeah. He's in his 30s. So they will at some point have to develop or find someone else to make, PCA Robin instead of Batman, but that's tomorrow's problem, I guess.
Well, if they develop one. I mean, Ethan Conrad's up to a great start. Couldn't play last year because he was injured when they drafted him, and then he can't play this year because he fucked up his back. So he's gonna miss at least the first 6 weeks.
Well, you always like a prospect with a bad back because those always get better.
Yep. They were amazed he was available when they picked.
Maybe less amazed now.
Maybe there was a reason.
Maybe there was a reason.
I also like when they look back at getting Pete, like, oh, we loved him coming out of high school. We were loved. Right. Well, why'd you fucking draft Ed Howard instead of him then?
Well,
you wouldn't have had to have traded. You could have traded Hobby for something else. You'd have two things.
You'd have two things. Well, I don't like to wade into that, but the Ed Howard pick was always a little strange.
Well, it's the last black guy they've ever tried to pick up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't want to.
It ran him off of that forever, I guess.
I hate to think that poor kid scared him off of it or proved them right. I don't want them to think like that.
Yeah, they literally. It's almost like they were like, it's only a 5-round draft. Let's just take the fun. We'll get a lot of credit for this. We'll get a lot of credit for this. And you know what? It doesn't matter because we're going to sign this great guy from Duke, the best player available as a free agent. We're going to get Matt Mervis, and that's all anybody will ever remember about this draft is that we signed Matt Mervis.
Well, I remember for opening day. I don't know how you do this for 162.
They will win eventually, right?
Well, yeah, they'll win. Yeah. I think they'll win more than they lose, even.
Yeah, that'd be nice. The thing I remember about Matt Mervis is the day he got called up. I was reading in the Athletic. Keith Law was like, I don't know why they're calling him up. He couldn't hit a fastball at all in the minors, and then you watched him play. And you're like, oh God, he can't. I don't think he hit a single fastball this entire time in the big league.
Do we have some breaking news while we're...
Oh, we do?
I'm reading something about a Nico extension. 6 years.
Holy shit.
So where are they sending Matt Shaw?
Well, does he have any podcaster funerals he needs to go to?
We could probably find him one.
That's really... well, Happ's next then. Jed's in that's funny. No. Ian's like hanging out in front of Jed's office. And Jed's
I'm curious here because...
Is he gone yet? Is he left? Is he still
They're not going to be shifting Nico back over to short in his 30s when Dansby has to go be full-time Mr. Dad for the superior athlete in his house's kid. So I wonder. I mean, Nico can play a good second base in his 30s. I'm not worried about it.
Nico is when they changed the rules where where your shortstop couldn't help your second baseman play second base anymore. Right. Nico became exceedingly valuable because you basically need a second shortstop to play second base, right? And the Cubs have that. And if Dansby, well, they've got all these guys. They've got Pedro Ramirez. They got Jefferson Roja. They got all these stars. The prospects never fail. So we'll just wait for the new one to come up.
Right. I saw Nico was batting fifth today when I tuned in to the right before the game.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
And I was like, I gotta say, I know Seiya's hurt, but Nico's a guy who, on a team that means business, bats seventh or eighth. And then I found myself saying that 2 or 3 more times as they went down the lineup, because Dansby's a 7 or 8 hitter. Ian Happ is a 7 or 8 hitter. Moises at this point is probably a 7 or 8 hitter. He has to prove to be more.
Yeah. I have no problem with Moises hitting where he's hitting, with the idea that when he starts to hit, he moves up.
The scary thing is PCA might be a 7 or 8 hitter.
Well, he shouldn't be hitting fourth. And I know I think that is 100% because Seiya's gone out. That's why he was hitting cleanup. But I kind of feel like batting him cleanup. Like I had this theory about Javi, that when he went to Detroit was the worst possible place for him because the park was big, and Javi's idea was, I just need to hit the ball harder, which meant he swung harder, which means he's going to strike out 1,000 times, which he did. I kind of feel like you let Pete bat cleanup, and he's like, all right, now I got to bat like a cleanup hitter. Although he did bunt in a run today, so maybe he got.
Maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, we're just going to sneak attack from the cleanup spot.
Never see it coming.
Last year, early in the year, when they scored all the runs, they carried the offense for the whole season. It made it look like they had a good offense when they went nuts in the first half. A big part of it was the lower third of the lineup was hitting really well. And apparently their idea to replicate is to just build the whole team out of the lower third of a lineup.
Well, maybe Alcantara will be up before we know it to solve some of this. So.
Oh, well.
0-1.
It was nice to have them back.
Yep. It's always comforting to have them, to have baseball back. It's always there. And now they have the rare Friday off, right? They don't play tomorrow. It's Thursday,
No, they have it off
Sunday.
In case, They've
got the baseball-sized hail, the live squirrels it was supposed to rain, showed up today, but they did. It only showed up now.
It was Praz who noticed that the Cubs are, next week, the Cubs are the Guardians opener.
Okay.
And the Guardians don't have the next day off. The reason teams do this is every team gets a sellout for opening day.
Right.
And you want to have the next day in case of bad weather so you don't have to comp a bunch of tickets. Everybody just has to show up the next day. But, it's not like Cleveland has bad weather in April.
Maybe that's how much they've just given up. Like, no one cares. We'll just.
It'll be fine.
It'll be
No,
fine.
I guarantee you the Dolan family was pissed that they got the Cubs for their opener because you get the Cubs later in the year. Those are sellouts. You're going to sell out opening day anyway. You don't want to have the Cubs or the Yankees on opening day. You want to have them later when you get to sell more extra tickets.
You're costing yourself one sellout day by having the Cubs there.
I mean, it was the whole Reinsdorf banking on the 3 Cubs sellouts every year was the whole reason that they kept the natural rivals in interleague had 2 series with each other. They still do.
Yeah, they still do.
And that's why. It's because Jerry went to Bud and told him what to do like he always did.
God. He's going to die soon. We'll be rid of him soon enough. He might already be dead for all I know. He just hasn't fallen down. Can anyone tell?
He'd move faster. He's dead. If he fell off something, it'd be the fastest he's moved in a long time.
Well, you know what? The lockout that doesn't cancel any games next winter, that might kill him, because if he doesn't get to cancel games to get what he wants, that's his raison d'etre. And if he doesn't get that, then that might be the final straw. Because I'm convinced they're not going to actually lose any games next year. There's too much writing on it.
In fact, I think that they will. I think most of the CBA will be agreed on before they even lock it out. Yeah. But they're still going to lock it out because the owners want to lock out. They want to push it to get one last concession from the players when the players think they're going to miss a paycheck. That's their whole strategy. But in my mind, I think a lot of the owners are convinced they're going to push for the salary cap because they always do. And mostly they push for it because they want to get a concession out of the players for something else. For a cap, they're never really going to push for. They want to say, well, if we're not going to let us do this, we need this.
Right.
I think it's because the TV contracts are all up after 28.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're finally going to cash in. So they can't fuck it up before that. I would be very worried about the CBA after they get the big TV contracts, though. Yeah. That's because they're going to tell a bunch of owners who want to push for it, we're going to push for it next time. And then that next time, then a bunch of them are going to. Although...
well, the landscape could look like anything at that point, because if they get their centralized TV thing where everyone's on MLB TV, and everyone's making the same... and so it's like, oh, well, everyone's, making the money and we'll just leave it as is. So.
Well, and the lockout the last time, the reason it went as long as it did was the owners couldn't agree with each other.
Right.
Like the players kept waiting. Like the players are like, we basically have a deal. We can't get a final offer from them because they're screaming at each other in a boardroom.
It's a bad deal for the players either way. So.
And they're like, are you ever going to approve it amongst yourselves so we can say yes to this? And they're like,
so
no,
play baseball. Yeah.
We've got some. My whole thing, I think, if I'm the players, the one thing I push for is you can have your luxury tax, but the luxury tax has to go both ways. Teams that pay under a certain amount have to pay a tax up to the amount they should have to actually be spending.
Back to the bigger teams, yeah. But they'll never agree to that.
No.
You're right. That's what it should be. But
because honestly, that's the real luxury. The luxury isn't paying great players what they're worth. The luxury is having a baseball team and not bothering to pay for really good players.
Right.
You still make money and
making
you
money
keep your payroll down. You're the ones that have the luxury. You're hoarding your own money.
They're hoarding other people's money. Like the Pirates get $80 million from the Yankees and Dodgers and Red Sox or whoever. And they do nothing with it. They just take it.
Yeah, because in a fair system,
that sounds like luxury to me.
Unless you spent a minimum amount, you would be. And I know they do have it, but it doesn't have any teeth. Because the A's 2 years ago last year had to go out and start spending money,
right?
So they could get their luxury tax or their revenue sharing money.
Yeah.
And so they signed Luis Severino, and then he showed up at the park, and he's like, "Where's the bathroom? Fuck that! I don't want to pitch here."
Right.
Why is it over there? I'm not going to do this. Trade me. Like, I'm not trading you. All right. Well, this was fun. We're going to do this.
Thanks for having me back.
We're going to do this periodically.
Everything feels right in the world again.
Yes. I'm glad to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, until next time.
Toodle.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Thank you. Sir. Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much,
Awesome.
Andy.